Greetings, ladies and gentlemen of the internet. This is the Fat White Knight, as always, coming to you live. Well, it's not live. Coming to you from another recording here in our hardcore totemless Let's Play world. Oh yeah. Today you're gonna see a variety of clips in weird successions to form a bit of a story. The rise of a tree, shown here. The fell of a tree, soon to be shown. And I just kind of wanted to show both my failures and indiscretions as I was able to do so. We spent the time recording it, so I felt it was only in our best interest here if we were to do it that way. And that's exactly what we're doing. So, you'll see different stages of the tree, and as we continue, poof, look at that. Oh my god, it's a big boy now. It's a big, big boy. And I really like this tree. However, I do feel that there is both a time and a freaking place for it, and right here is neither of those things, unfreaking fortunately. So, we're about to go into the next jump right now. Oh, that was too soon. There we go. Switch to the other side of the tree, just like so. And I really like this style of tree, honestly. The weird, like, pine coning up. The ability to just have a lot of branches, all of them go upwards and inwards. And it's like the opposite of that of a spruce tree, I believe. Or at least that's how I see it. And it seems a little weird, but it does in fact work. As long as you make a tippity top, it works quite nicely, and there you go. Poof, tree done. Horrible shot on that skeleton twice. 3 strikes, you're out, but thankfully we hit the last one and he fell to his doom. And here's the same tree in the daytime. Oh, freaking yeah. So I decided next that there should probably be another tree in very close proximity to this tree. Now, we all know that that is very rarely a good thing, and I've spent time looking at it. I'm like, is this tree good enough? Will it be the one that we want it to be? I don't know. I just spent time looking and looking and looking, trying to make it right for the environment that we have here, but it just didn't seem to woo my fancy, and that is a little bit unfortunate. But I decide, here, right freaking here, will be a great place to have a tree. And then I immediately lost interest and went over here and tried to texture this wall again because we are struggling with it immensely. I keep adding little blocks here and there, and I keep liking what I'm seeing. I like all these little changes. But it's very difficult to get it exactly the way I want it, especially because I'm going with blinders on here. I don't know how I want it to look. I don't know what materials we're using or anything like that. I just know that it should look a certain way, and we haven't gotten there yet. Look, the tree is finished. Beautiful, wonderful, and amazing. But I realized far too late, it's way too close to these 2 trees. And then, you guessed it, we have a sped up footage of us getting rid of and demolishing the entirety of the freaking tree. Because, well, it just did not work in our favor. And that is a crying freaking shame, honestly, because it was a very nice tree. One that I'm sure will rebuild in its likeness at some point, wherever it seems to fit. But this is not the area in which it fits. I got this crazy idea from a genius builder, a god landscaper, Mr. Good Times with Scar. And in one of his latest Hermitcraft episodes, he unveiled that he was making like 13 gigantic redwood trees. Now, I didn't necessarily want a redwood tree the same way, but it got it blooming in my head, and that's kind of what that first tree was, and even the trees of the last freaking episode were. Just trying to see if it would be something that I would like, something that would work, or not. So, we'll see. We're going to keep on trucking, and we'll come back with an update. Where it all starts. I saw a parrot in the distance, and I knew he had to be mine. He had to be mine. I like the little guys. They add a lot of life to the trees, and you don't really notice them, but they do look really freaking fantastic. And you can see that's about how tall I want the tree to be. You saw it for a split second, and I just kinda need to get in the rhythm here. It has taken me longer than it should have for this, I'm not going to lie, and it's just a lot of piddle farting around. It's placing blocks, it's going down, it's looking around, it's flying at it, it's looking at it from the rooftop, looking at it from the pathway, looking at it from the other rooftop. It's placing in a random way. It's trying to get the curves just right. It's so many different things all in the same go. And very, very difficult for me to get right. I think once we get one correct, or at least as correct as we want it to be, we'll be in a real good shape to be able to replicate that. But at this moment, this is my Everest. This is something so far in Minecraft that I have been having immense troubles doing, and I guess you'll see why. And super fast freaking build mode. And now we're here. We've done a little bit, made some freaking progress, and, well, it's coming up Millhouse for sure. But it is very, very difficult to get right. This has taken hours. I know you can't really tell from the footage, but this really, truly has taken hours. And this is one single tree. Scar built like 13 of these in a single episode. And I can only imagine, I can only begin to surmise that each and every tree that he did, not counting resource gathering, took 2 to 3 hours minimum. I don't think he was using any schematic mods. I don't think he was using anything outside of the ordinary. He was just simply using things. And like he was just placing blocks. And that truly is remarkable because I have so much more respect for these kind of trees in trying to build one that's only double the height of our long slender trees. So that already is I don't know, it's something else. I will say not being able to fly or go in creative mode makes doing these trees abundantly hard. No guide, nothing, just kind of winging it. It's hard, but tremendous more respect for that lad because this is not an easy thing to do. Again, 12 trees in a single episode. Granted, it is his job, and he does get a lot more time to record, but still, 12 whole freaking trees in a single episode. And it really was like a 15-second clip. He like whooshed around and bam, there's a gigantic forest around him, and that's insanity. Truly, truly insanity. So I don't want this to look like a redwood tree. I just want it to be like my version of a big tree, and we'll do it to the best of our ability. Now, I know this is my very first big tree of this magnitude, so be gentle, be ginger when you're talking about my tree here, because I am trying. It's just a skill of which I have not yet had to use in Minecraft, and, well, I'm very, very excited to try it on for size. I think we're going to have probably 5 of these trees, give or take, maybe 10. I kind of want like 5 on this side, 5 on the other side. It would be like the ideal ratio, but I'm not entirely sure because I just want them to be background. They're going to get lost in the forest unless you are truly looking up and you're like, oh wow, what is that? They're going to get lost in the forest, and I'm okay with that. So, like, they don't need to be the best trees in the world, but they still need to be good trees, especially when there are not other trees around them right now to kind of cover their insecurities and make them look just a little bit freaking better. Because, my goodness, they take a lot of time and a lot of freaking resources. But, like I said, I think we'll end up with 10 or so. 5 on this side of the island, 5 on the other side of the island. And that will give us good backdrops wherever we look. And then I think on the other side, we'll probably do maybe a mountainous hill area in the distance. Just something to break up the terrain and give us more of the exposure that we're looking for. The background, the foreground, the midground. I really want to focus on doing that, but from the ground level and not from looking at a rooftop or anything like that, though that view is equally as important. I really want to see what we can do with this. We're going to push ourselves to the absolute freaking limits, and we are going to go absolutely butt freaking wild here. I mean buck, as in buck wild from Ice Age. Oh, yeah. We're going to go back to a little bit more of a time lapse before we wrap up this episode because me butchering these leaves is not a sight to see, let me tell you. Damn. I don't know if you can tell, but what we have been doing is doing real freaking well. Hopefully I pan out in a second here to take a look. And oh good, look at me. Past me knows what's up. And I think it's starting to take freaking shape. It's taken a long time to get to just this point here. But I think it's starting to freaking look really, really good. I figured out a little too late that you need to have messy leaves. The messier the leaves, the better off you are with it, because really, without the messy leaves, it's just weird. And I am really digging how this tree looks now. It just, from the angle, it looks so good, and I'm very excited to see just where it will go, and every tree is going to be different, so we're going to have to space these things pretty far away from each other, or else they're going to end up blending together, and that would be like one of the worst things that we could do in this particular build, because if they all just blend together, we might as well not even make a forest, truly. We want it to feel like one organism, but everything should not be just connected to each other in that way. There should be some separation from them. So although it is in itself a gigantic living organism, a forest with a living, breathing town in it, in its heart, I don't want it to be like next to each other like that, but I do want it to feel as if it is part of the same thing. So the spacing on the tree is going to be of the utmost importance, because if we mess it up, we are truly in the shit. You can see me stopping to gather a little bit of resources now, because guess what? Well, we have run out of jungle logs several freaking times already. It turns out each one of these trees is like, I don't know, 27 give or take stacks of logs, which doesn't feel like that much, but it really, really is, because most of the normal trees that we've been making are roughly half that. No, way less than half. They've got to be like maybe 2 or 3 stacks of wood total, whereas this one is just eating up and chewing out our wood at massive, massive rates, which is something that we'll have to work out. In order to build a bunch of these, for example, and maybe I do something neat and surprise you guys at some point and build several of these monstrosities, maybe, I don't know, but maybe, we're going to need a lot of resources. So I think we're going to start to get rid of all of the big trees in that jungle there. We'll leave all the small trees. That's how we'll be able to whittle it down and blend the two surroundings. But I do think that it is in our best interest to get rid of all of the freaking large trees, and then it will make it really easy to blend. And even on the top of that mountain over there that you can see, maybe we put one of these mammoth trees over there just to really, really blend it in together. And we might even try it on a larger scale than this tree, just so the trees inside of the forest are not the biggest and baddest thing around, we might do a supreme tree over there, because at some point we're going to have to venture into that jungle. We're able to connect to the base in any way of our choosing, but what better way to connect a forest than with another forest and transition it into a jungle kind of thing? And if the jungle happened to be alive because there was one cell, one gigantic tree that's veins stretched out throughout the jungle, well, then we may just freaking have something. That's what I know. Oh, this is going to be a lot of freaking fun, let me tell you. I am so excited about this tree now. I wasn't before because I just genuinely could not get the shape right. I could not figure out how to do it, and turns out building it in the way I was just was stupid. Here is that final look at our landscape and the tree from the distance, though, and you can tell it looks really freaking good. And I'm very happy about it, at least from that angle, and you can kind of still see it from over here. Granted, our render distance is low, but you can still see it. So thanks so much for watching, and until next time, ciao.